G'day, Simon.
Yeah, Kane.
A tough night across the board. You really sort of felt like you lost control of the game during the second quarter. What did you see influence that from your perspective?
Turnovers, offensive boards early in the game. We did a better job of cleaning the offensive boards or their offensive boards up in the second half. Thought our rebounding and competitiveness was a lot better. But early doors, possession is king in the playoffs, and they were able to get second and third touches, and they grinded us down a little bit. Our turnovers, some of them were just really poor decisions from an offensive standpoint, dribbling into dangerous places, and they're reaching in, they're athletic, they're long. You can't give them shots at that, and we did, and we just kept turning it over, and that results in baskets going the other way. So that was probably the issue early in the game, but turnovers continued to be an issue for us throughout. At least we cleaned up those defensive boards though.
As far as Creaky goes, I know it's always going to be a blow when you get in early foul trouble, but you sort of missed him through that period, and I think you're actually leading only slightly in the first quarter. By the time he comes back in, you're down double digits. As a guy that is the leader that often leads that aggressiveness, how can you try and overcome that in those situations? How do you think they handled it?
Yeah, it was two early ones. It's tough when you get foul trouble to keep personnel. We saw that in Perth last night. If maybe we could have extracted a few more calls and maybe got some of their guys in foul trouble early, would have been nice too, but it wasn't to be. So they gained the ascendancy there. We've got to have trust in other guys to get the job done. You can't really, with 2 fouls in the first 5 minutes, throw him out there and expect something different. There's too many variables involved in the sport of basketball, and just saying, I can play with fouls doesn't necessarily mean that someone else can ref with fouls, or that there's mistakes made, or you've got to go cover for someone else's mistakes on the floor. It's just too risky. So we needed to kind of hold the sway, but it didn't happen for us.
Kyle, for you being on the floor, I know Simon already mentioned the rebounding a little bit there, but when it kind of felt like the perfect storm for them. They were hitting them from the outside, they were scoring inside. What were you seeing defensively for you guys, whether it's communication, the spots that you were in terms of trying to limit those looks?
Well, I thought initially our turnovers just fed their transition, and I think they did a great job of scoring in trans. But in the half court, I just thought we were a step off. I thought they won the physicality contest, and a team like United, who are very athletic and physical, you got to match that, or they're going to kill you on the boards and etc. So I just thought we just lacked that physicality, and we're just a step slow. But we've got 2 more games to rectify that, and by all means, our heads are going to be held high moving into these next 2. We've got to move past it.
Simon, Jock, I've asked you about him a couple of times this year. He's had some big games against you guys. It's difficult when he's outside, he's inside, but what did you think of the coverage tonight? Was the defense close to where you needed to be, and he's just a really damn good player? What were you seeing with Jock specifically?
No, we gave him a couple of good looks from behind the arc, which I was a little disappointed in. We threw some different looks down him in the block, but he was feeling himself by then, and he was scoring against multiple different looks. So it was one of those games. He was very, very good, but we have to be able to absorb. You can't stop everything. You can't stop everyone on any given night, and it's one of those things there. If we're coughing the ball up or we're giving them second looks, you can't absorb that and a player playing outstanding basketball. So we'll go back to and have a look at the video, see where we went wrong. We've got some other looks that we'll have to come up with and different strategies to try and quell his influence.
You spoke about trying to get guys acclimated and comfortable playing with each other, and you're down big at halftime, and sometimes it can be easy for a team to try and eat away at that gap with threes, but it looked like you ran specifically multiple sets in a row to start the second half for Ryan to get him going. He knocked down those shots. How do you try and get him more involved in the first half of games? Because obviously the outside shooting is going to be valuable for you guys.
Yeah, well, firstly, I thought Melbourne did a great job of really just locking him up and playing him close. For us, we thought, well, if they're going to take away our corners and our wings, then we've got to try and attack them through the middle. but they did a good job also of protecting the rim. We did get some feet in the paint early. I thought our aggressiveness was pretty good at times, but then in the second half we thought, well, if they're going to play him that tight, we're going to have to get him activated and get him coming off some screens and try and free him up a little bit. We got him going a little bit, which is good, but we also had to put him on ice as well. He's carrying a couple of niggles, so he's someone that we've had to manage in recent times. Given that the result was fairly apparent, we'll put him away for the next game.
And as far as it being sort of win or go home in game 2, it feels like you guys have almost had some experience with that type of situation here the last week or so with some of the games you've played. So what's the attitude? What did you say to the guys after the game, and how do you move forward to try and wipe this one?
Well, I'm speaking to you, so I haven't had a chance to speak to the guys. So, look, the message will be the same. Like, we use every game as an opportunity to get better at the things that need work and better at the things we do well as well. And we'll take some things from that game that I was unhappy with, and we'll work on those from a video session perspective. But we've got to manage these bodies. The travel that we've had in the lead up to these games, the lack of preparation, given the condensed finals format. Health is priority number one, and then hopefully we can get a couple of shots up and work on a few things as well. But these guys blew Sydney out last year, if I remember, by 60 odd, and lost the series. So it's never over until it's over.
Thanks, Kane. Chris?
Kyle, you've talked a lot about the turnovers and how big of an impact they had on the result. It hasn't really been a problem for you during the season. So was there something that caused that to be a problem tonight, and how do you make sure it's not a problem on Sunday?
Melbourne obviously pressure the ball up the floor. They're a very physical team. We talk often about just those sort of strike zone passes. We got to make bounce passes or lob passes, and they've got a lot of length. And I thought tonight they just had a lot of deflections and stuff. We made a few errors, passing the ball, especially in the pick and roll. It's just about cleaning it up. It's responsibility on the guy with the ball, taking care of the thing. The ball's really important to us. The more possessions we can get against quite a good defensive team is really important.
And I know there's nothing you can do about it, but you're playing in front of an empty arena. What was that experience like tonight? And is there something you can perhaps learn from tonight to apply on Sunday in terms of creating a bit of your own atmosphere and your own sort of spirit out there that maybe you didn't do tonight?
Yeah, definitely. I think we got to, anytime it's an empty gym and you don't have that crowd behind you, I think it's really important to create your own energy. And I thought our bench could have done a better job tonight as well. There's definitely lots of different aspects of the game that we'll look at. But, for most part, I thought our talk was decent off the bench. But it's important to, as Simon said before, continue to review and get better at all.
Do you look forward to Sunday now, the chance to force it to game 3?
100%. Yep.